everybody, JC here with another T&I toy review. And for today's review, we're going to be taking a look at the new DC Comics Multiverse 6-inch Batman 0 Year Batman figure from Mattel. Now this figure comes packaged in the same style packaging we've been seeing with all the DC Comic Multiverse figures. You've got the window box packaging with the red and black highlights. You've got the DC Comics Multiverse logo up at the top. The figure's clearly displayed, and then you have the artwork down below of the character and the name. Also, it tells us it comes with a Collect and Connect Justice Buster figure piece. On the side of the packaging, we have more artwork for the character and a brief bio. And then on the back of the packaging, we have a bio for the Multiverse line, a look at the Justice Buster Collect and Connect figure, and all the figures you need to get in order to build that Justice Buster. All of these figures are out on shelves now. Okay, so let's get this open and take a look at what's inside. Okay, so here's a look at the figure outside the packaging. Now, first of all, this figure comes with one of the legs for the Justice Buster Collect and Connect figure, and we will be taking a look at the Justice Buster in its own review probably tomorrow, so be sure to check back for that. The figure also comes with a gun, which he uses in the comic book, and it's done with a metallic silver. Sculpting is pretty good on it for the most part. Not a lot of paint detail, just the metallic silver, but it does look pretty much, as far as the sculpt goes, like what he used in the comic book. And he's got this working holster on his leg that you can put the gun in. And the gun is in the holster when you take the figure out of the packaging. Okay, so for the figure itself, I think Mattel has done a really nice job with this one. I like the purple gloves, which are kind of a throwback to the early days of Batman. You've got the belt, which the front part is yellow, the two pouches in the front and the buckle are yellow, and then on the back you have the pouches that go all the way around the back and they're just gray, but I think they've done a nice job with that. I like the sculpting of this black padding that goes down his arms. I think that looks good, as well as on his knees. I like the shoes. You've got these little silver tabs on his shoes, so I like that detail. So this version of Batman is based on a Greg Capullo story, so it's basically kind of a Greg Capullo type figure, and DC Collectibles did their own version of this version of Batman a while back. And I don't say this often, but I think both of these figures are pretty much on par with one another. They're both pretty nicely detailed and accurate to what we saw in the comic book. Now the DC Collectible one does have a little better paint applications on the utility belt. You've got that washwork to give it that more leather look, whereas on the Mattel one it's just kind of a bright yellow. But otherwise, again, I think these figures are pretty comparable. You've got the cape, which is done with that vinyl material, and it's kind of split down the middle, so I think that looks good. And I like the face sculpt. I actually like the face sculpt on this figure better than the DC Collectible one. I think the skin tone is good. It looks like he's maybe got a little 5 o'clock shadow. He's got the whited out eyes, but again, overall, I think they've done a really nice job with this figure. And as I mentioned, he's also got the gun with the working holster. The gun, that little more extra paint detail on the DC Collectible one, but sculpt-wise, they both look pretty similar. So this figure stands, if you count to the tip of his ears, is just over 7 inches tall. And then here he is next to the DC Collectible version and their DC Collectible version of the Red Hood. And you can see that this Mattel figure actually is about the same height as the DC Collectible Batman. This figure, even though it's listed as a 6-inch scale figure, seems to be more in 7-inch scale. So I'm not sure why it's so big, but it would actually fit in with your DC Collectibles. Okay, and here's a look at the figure with the other 6-inch Multiverse figures in the line. And you can see Batman is definitely the tallest of the bunch, even the Joker figure, but I would say that the scale between the Batman and the Joker is pretty good with each other. Okay, so articulation on this figure is pretty much on par with the other Mattel figures in the line. It's also pretty much on par with the DC Collectible version. There are a few differences which I'll show you here, but the head you can basically turn left and right. Doesn't have a whole lot of up or down movement. Arms attached with the standard ball hinge joint, so you can get the arm out about that much. You've got pretty good rotation at the arm. It's got the bicep swivel. It's got a single hinged elbow, and then it's got swivels at the wrist, and he also has hinges on his hands, so he's got up and down movement with the hands as well. The DC Collectible one does not have hinges on the hands. He's got an ab crunch joint, so he can crunch down about that much, and he can look back about that much. He's got a waist swivel. Now with the belt and the gun, he can only do the splits about that much. He can get his leg forward pretty good, and he can do his leg back about that much. He has a thigh bi-swivel. He has a single hinged knee, so he can bend his knee about that much. Now the DC collectible one does have a double hinged knee, and then he's got hinges on the feet, so he's got up and down movement, but no pivot and no swivel. The DC collectible one doesn't have ankle pivot, but it does have a swivel at the ankle, and then 2 peg holes on the bottom of his feet. Okay, so that's my review. Overall, I like this figure. I like the face sculpt, and I think the overall detail is pretty nice on this figure and pretty comparable with that of the DC collectible one. Now, if you already have the DC collectible one, then it's probably not worth picking this one up. But if you missed out on that one and you do like this design for Batman, I think this is one you'll definitely want to add to your collection. And because it is a bit on the tall side, it'll actually fit in pretty nicely with the DC collectible figures. It also seems to fit in nicely with the Joker figure released in this line, but is a bit tall for the others. So we'll have a full gallery of images up at toynewseye.com. There's a link in the description below, and as always, leave a comment, let us know what you think. Also, if you haven't already, please follow me on either Facebook or Twitter. I'll have links to those pages in the video description below, and until next time, I'll catch you later.